these various effects, especially Matron and especially Ringleader, can really disable the Goblins player and make it so they're just playing with 1/1s and 2/2s, which is not that impressive against a Tarmogoyf.
And he has 4 of those in his deck right now. Other cards, the normal 4 Brainstorms, 4 Days, a Dismember, 4 Force of Will, 1 Fork Bolt, 4 Lightning Bolts, 4 Ponders, 2 Spell Pierce, the 4 Stifles, the 1 Thought Scour, 1 Sylvan Library. That's, again, that seemed to be a card that seems to just be casually sneaking into these decks, whether they're on the sideboard or like that.
It's a little bit of tech that Brad Nelson originally picked up, I believe, from a Japanese player, and it made it into Rug decks when Todd won the Invitational as a more consistent mainstay because it's really good against Miracles and Stoneblade kind of decks. It's not so good against Goblins. Andrew's deck actually looks pretty well structured to be fighting the control decks more so than a deck like Goblins, which while it can play like a control deck, actually presents a lot of pressure.
Well, we'll see what happens here as they both are shuffling up here and offering to go here. Again, for those of you just joining us, it is round 7 of 8 in Legacy. Star City Open Series in Indianapolis, Indiana. Stephen Martin playing Goblins and Andrew Tenjum, again, fresh off his top 8. This weekend playing Rug Delver. Alright, they're going to offer the cuts, and let's shuffle up then and deal.
Unsure which players got in the play, but the play is pretty awesome in the matchup. It's really the best for Goblins, I think, because it keeps the Rug player from being able to deploy Daze against an Aether Vial on turn 1. That's a pretty key interaction. Once Aether Vial's in play, a lot of Rug Delver's cards lose their text.
Alright. Let's see them go here. I think they're going to... Andrew pull out some dice there.
Looks like they're waiting for the okay from us, and we're okay. Rolling for the die. A 6 from Andrew. Riveting stuff going on right here.
And it
looks like a 3 or a 2 or 4. Definitely not a 6, so that's going to leave Andrew on the play. Matron Vial, Cavern.
Another Matron and Arid Mesa.
Yep, so an okay hand, nothing to write home about, but because of the Vial, it's likely quite good. I didn't see the 7th card is a Ringleader. Alright, so that hand's slow but potent. If you don't know what your opponent's playing, I would be inclined to keep it. Even if I know my opponent's playing Rug, I think it's fine because of the Rishadan port, being able to shut down my opponent's land light draws.
Okay, Volcanic Island, first turn Ponder there.
So I got Delver, a Spell Pierce, and something else, which is going to be a keep. I don't care what that something else is.
Yeah.
I think it's a Sylvan Library, looking down. Yep, Delver, Spell Pierce, Sylvan Library.
That's a pretty effective Ponder right there. That allows him to get off Delver rather quickly. Okay, it looks like Arid Mesa will be cracked.
I think we're actually going to be drawing our Spell Pierce next turn probably, and then shuffling with the fetch land in Andrew's hand to get rid of the Sylvan Library and deploy the Delver with a fresh 3. As valuable as being able to flip a Delver for sure is, the deck's pretty good at flipping Delver, and a Sylvan Library is not necessarily what we're going to want once we see our opponent open up on Aether Vial.
Yeah, he's the one that's closer to the 30 spell count in his library, which is typical for the Rug Delver deck. Okay, there's the Aether Vial.
Do we have a Daze or a Force? I see a Daze. Yep, Daze.
And that will set Stephen back, because now he does have, it looks like, a Wasteland in his hand, if I'm not correct, and the Cavern of Souls.
I may have misread us having a fetch land. So Andrew opening up on Delver of Secrets. He has a Sylvan Library on top of his deck, though, so we know it's not going to flip.
Okay.
Rishadan Port.
Oh, it's Rishadan Port, sorry about that. Thought that was...
Upkeep, we're going to tap that Volcanic Island down. Will Andrew brainstorm in response? Now, what Stephen should have clarified was, after the Delver trigger resolves, can I Rishadan Port you? Because that way, Andrew won't get a free look knowing the Sylvan Library is there. Of course, Stephen, knowing that Andrew is pondered, probably thinks Andrew left an instant or sorcery right there.
And he didn't.
Yep, we know he didn't.
All right. That will be turn. Andrew now will swing for 1. Looks like he has a Spell Pierce in his hand, a Misty Rainforest.
Looks like we drew Dismember off the Thought Scour, and then our Delver hit a Misty Rainforest for our draw step.
Okay.
This is what happened, which is fine, because we needed that second land.
Yes.
I imagine we'll go ahead and grab a tropical. Yep.
So now he's got his mana base set up very nicely there, having access to every color right away. Yeah, I keep forgetting how powerful that Roshan Port is. Just the ability to tap down mana, especially when Steven has nothing to play with right away. That is a very powerful option.
Steven's hand would be much better with that Aether Vial in play. It's actually become rather anemic since losing it. He's got just a lot of 3s, 4s, and 5s in his hand, and Cavern of Souls will let him resolve them uncontested. But in the meantime, he does have to race a Delver of Secrets.
Yeah.
If it flips, then Goblin Matron fetching Ringleader is not even going to be enough to kill it. He'd need another Goblin.
Okay. He has the Cavern of Souls.
Another 5-drop to go. SCGINDY Commander and Kiki-Jiki for Steven.
Yeah, Goblin Matron.
Jamming Sting Scourger.
Yes.
Good defense against what he considers a likely flip of Delver of Secrets. And I think he's probably right on the money with that.
Well, he just was able to set it up via Ponder, so we're pretty sure, because I believe he saw Force of Will, and another card.
I generally assume that when a Rug Delver player casts Ponder with a Delver in play, that Delver's going to flip.
Okay. All right.
It's just really, really hard to miss.
Yeah, and he didn't shuffle, so...
Yeah. If they aren't shuffling, then you have even bigger problems.
Yeah.
Likely problems Tarmogoyf 1 through 3.
Okay, there it is.
Stifle. One of his better hits. That'll even be able to protect his Insectile Aberration from Sting Scourger if Steven goes for it.
Okay, I don't believe I saw if Andrew had a third land or not.
We know he doesn't because he just drew the Misty Rainforest last turn, and this turn he drew the Stifle. Okay. So he should be depleted. But he's ahead on the board and has a hand full of awesome spells.
Yeah, in for 3. To take Steven down to 15.
Goblin Lackey is actually deceptively relevant because it's a second Goblin that he can get in play on the same turn as a Gem Palm Incinerator.
Mm-hmm.
So if he manages to draw one of those, or if he winds up matroning for one again, having another Goblin could prove key.
Right, and like we see here, Steven's hand is loaded with Goblins. He's got plenty of options there. He just needs more mana. Okay, so use the ability, which will get stifled.
Yep.
Okay.
And now Goblin Lackey is a real threat on the board.
And for those of you who don't know Goblin Lackey, it's 1 red. Whenever Goblin Lackey successfully deals damage to a player, you may choose a Goblin card in your hand and put it into play. Okay, Goblin Lackey is met with a Dismember. So Andrew will lose 4 life for the Dismember, taking him down at the end of turn down to 14. Insect Cabrel attack back. Steven goes down to 11.
Yeah, it's not a race that the Goblins are winning right now.
He's going to try to activate the ability again. And it is successful this time.
Sorry?
He Echo cost on that.
Yeah, the Sting Scourger died to
Sting Scourger died
Echo
to
during his
Echo
upkeep.
during, yeah, he wasn't going to pay for that. Okay.
Goblin Ringleader? Nope, Krenko. Wow, that's really aggressive from Steven.
That might be met with a...
Yeah, he might even just be running it out there as counterbait because he knows the Ringleader's more valuable here. I don't even know if Krenko could race an Insectile Aberration from Rug Delver, to be totally honest. The Dismember is the only reason he's even in this race.
Yeah, okay, well he drew another Force of Will, 2 Force of Wills,
Yeah.
Brainstorm, plenty of options in his hand, just little mana light, 3 Brainstorms I believe, if I'm not correct.
Sorry. He actually has a Cavern, so his spell was definitely going to resolve. That means he definitely wanted Krenko over Ringleader. I don't know if that's even correct. It doesn't matter since it died. But
Yes.
Plateau, we can resolve whatever we want. Kiki-Jiki or SCGINDY Commander are likely choices. We can also Matron for Gem Palm Incinerator and hope our opponent doesn't have another Stifle. But...
And he could probably take that chance because last turn he didn't... I don't think he showed... No, that's right, we didn't see that. Okay, he's going to play the Ringleader.
He's gonna Commander.
Commander, sorry.
Steven's really aggressive. He wants to just try and race down his opponent from this low life total. It's fine, I guess. To be fair, if he goes for something like Matron into Incinerator and he doesn't actually kill the Delver, then he would be in pretty bad shape. Getting to 6 or 3 life is really bad against Rug because it gives him a lot of top decks to kill you. And this play sets Steven up to be able to kill Andrew over the next 2 turns.
Okay, there's the Stifle.
Does have one, which in this case is probably going to be used as a healing salve to prevent one of these goblins from getting chucked. We've drawn 3 of our 4 Force of Wills. All of them are mono useless against Cavern of Souls from goblins.
Yes.
Which is definitely one of the weaknesses in the matchup. You want to avoid drawing Force of Will pretty heavily.
Okay, we'll take Steven down to 6. Alright, Andrew's still on 2 lands. Okay, he's going to swing in with the group.
That's 6. Steven lacks a 6th land, otherwise he could actually just threaten lethal with this attack. Assuming his land produced red mana.
Okay.
He's going to go ahead and fling 1. Is that going to the face or the Aberration?
It looked like he pointed at the Aberration.
It should be going to the Aberration because he cannot kill his opponent, so there's really no reason to not do that.
Okay,
Yeah,
Stifle.
it is going at the Aberration, and another one does as well.
And there it goes.
If I'm Andrew, I probably would have main phase Brainstormed in this game against the Siege Gang Commander. My ideal hit would be another land and another Stifle,
Okay.
throwing away some Force of Wills, and that way I could stifle 2 Goblin Flings, keep my Aberration, still be live for a Lightning Bolt going into this turn. Obviously, you gotta kind of peel to make that happen, but I have 3 Force of Wills and a Brainstorm in my hand, and this game is over, so that's not good.
No.
It looks like we would have hit the Stifle, but not the land.
Yeah.
So,
He does have a fetch land in his hand he drew from the last play, but
if he has a fetch land, then he actually would have done just enough to do exactly what I said,
yes.
which might have won the game. Force of Will, just a total brick in this situation.
But it does show you that the slightest of mistimings in Legacy can cost you a match.
This Brainstorm is literally just a turn late, and if he had played it on the last turn, he'd probably be, he would certainly be live to win the game, if not actually doing it that well. He'd be attacking his opponent to 3, and this turn could have been spent trying to ponder or brainstorm his way into a Lightning Bolt, assuming he had those options available.
Well, he would have had at least a couple chances at it. Because I believe he has...
he has a Ponder, so... Yeah, he's actually pretty much dead no matter what he does. Even if he finds a Bolt to kill the Siege Gang Commander, his opponent's hand is pure gas, including Goblin Ringleader, so...
Okay, he just scoops.
Yep.
That will put Stephen Martin up 1-0. Round 7 of 8 here. Do we know the records are what? X1?
These players are both with 1 loss.
Oh, 1 loss. X1. Okay.
Yep.
All right. There's a, like you said, there's a quite crowded field up there at the top half of the leaderboards there.
It's very diverse.
Yeah.
As we move into sideboarding, Andrew's the one on the back foot. I actually think the Rug Delver Goblins matchup is kind of close, but generally favors Goblins. The key threats are really like Tarmogoyf, Nimble Mongoose to establish like an early clock. Delver is one of your weaker ones because it can be so easily Gem Palm Incinerated. Out of Andrew's sideboard, again, his list pretty developed for a Miracle Heavy control field, which while we have that at the tournament, that's not his opponent.
No.
So he'll be looking for those rough tumbles probably, 2 of them, and that's about it. I don't think you're going to want to try and Croson Grip Aether Vial. That is a road to disaster, and because he only has 2 rough tumbles, he has to keep in some of his terrible counter spells, which is pretty grim. On the play, I think he can keep in pretty much, I would get rid of the Force of Wills and you can keep the Spell Pierces. I think Sylvan Library is probably better than a counterspell.
Okay,
Robert's suggesting cutting a Sylvan Library,
Yeah.
but I think that it might, having 1 in your deck is probably better than like a Force of Will or something, because those cards are just not very good in the matchup.
No.
He could, on the play, I think, bring in Sulfuric Vortex, which is really aggressive, but he, as you saw in that game, was the one dealing damage early.
Yes.
And his opponent was the one dealing it late, and the person who deals damage early is the one who wants Sulfuric Vortex most of the time.
Okay, we're looking at Steven's board. Does he really have anything he wants to bring in?
There's a few interesting cards. Red Blast is fine.
Yeah.
It's deceptively potent to be red blasting Rug Delvers, Brainstorms, and Ponders. They actually need these cards to get ahead.
Oh yeah.
Relic of Progenitus is definitely coming in. It's an excellent answer to both Nimble Mongoose and Tarmogoyf.
One thing I'm liking to see is even in the Goblin decks, which are popularized when I saw it at the Invitational, is the Angel of Despair is in the sideboard.
Yep.
Just it's a funny card because all of a sudden you're like, well, they can't play the card. Oh yes, they can.
Yeah, it's an awesome weapon against the Show and Tell matchup where it can kill an Omniscience before your opponent gets to cast an Emrakul off it, which is very key.
Yes.
The last card I see Stephen Martin bringing in is his 1 Thalia. So that's 1 Thalia, 1 Relic of Progenitus, and 3 red Elemental Blasts, and maybe a Blood Moon as well. That's kind of debatable on the draw because it's kind of hard to resolve. But I wouldn't fault him for bringing in those 6 cards.
Yeah, but if he does, was he taking out Mob Boss probably?
Yeah, I don't think we want to try and Krenko our opponent when he has Lightning Bolts in his deck. That's not going to work. Goblin Sharpshooter is pretty miserable. Tuk Tuk Scrapper is pointless, so those high-end guys, even Kiki Jiki is not very good, although I could see keeping one. I would probably just get rid of like those 4 guys, and maybe get rid of our Goblin Pile Drivers as well.
Okay.
Protection from blue is not especially useful, and they're vulnerable to Lightning Bolt, kind of difficult to get down. Not a big fan.
No. So we can see him easily bringing in 6 here to adjust, even though he won the match, and
the game.
Andrew, like you said, if Andrew would have cracked the land, done the brainstorm on the previous phase, we could be looking at a different situation here where Andrew could be up 1-0. All right, they are looking at their hands. Steven looks like he has 2 lands, another Cavern of Souls, a mountain. Okay.
Starting with a Delver of Secrets.
It's a good start for Andrew.
Yep, it's the highest maximum damage potential. I believe he also has a Nimble Mongoose, but on turn 1 it's correctly the Delver, even though it's more vulnerable, because it's more damage.
In for 1.
Looks like Steven did keep in his Goblin Sharpshooter. He does want to be careful with that sideboarding of diluting his deck, not having enough threats. So he may have only opted to bring in like a handful of the cards, somewhere in the 4 to 6 range, and kept in more of his goblins.
It looks like Andrew has another fetch land. He's bringing the Mongoose. He's got Stifle in his hand.
Along with the Sylvan Library.
Yes.
It's a slow start from Steven, just not where you want to be on the draw. He kept in his Pile Drivers. Well, we're going to see why that card's kind of mediocre in this game, I think.
Maybe he didn't side in much at all, it looks like, from here.
Yeah, I imagine he still I can't see him keeping like Tuk Tuk Scrapper. That had to go. Kiki Jiki's pretty bad. Krenko also pretty bad. I would definitely be getting rid of those 3. It's possible he also dislikes, say, Warren Instigator rather than Goblin Pile Driver. Perhaps he thinks one of them deals more damage.
All right. Misty Rainforest by Andrew.
Andrew's hand's awesome here. He's got a Tarmogoyf and a Nimble Mongoose, so he's just going to start bringing the beats. Squire style.
Well, time to get more stuff in the graveyard.
It's also a pretty reasonable line to play Sylvan here and just try to set up that Delver. We've missed on all of our flips so far, and we really need to start hitting.
Okay, there's a shuffle by Steven here. Yeah, I mean, that is a very... Steven's going to have a very difficult time coming up with answers for this, especially... Is he going to go Sylvan Library, Tarmogoyf?
I think I would probably tap out either way. I think I don't mind playing 2 spells this turn, because what's my opponent going to do on 3 mana that I'm going to stifle that's going to be very good? Like, are we stifling Goblin Matron here? Probably not. I'd much rather stifle a Ringleader when he commits 4 mana to it. So I would just probably play the Nimble Mongoose.
Alright, showing it's a 1-2, thanks to the Misty Rainforest in Andrew's graveyard.
I think that's what Andrew's considering here. Yep, I agree with this line.
Okay. That is maximum threats on the board for him right now.
The awkward thing is that because he paused so long, Steven's likely to assume he has some kind of 1-mana blue disruptive effect. Goblin Sharpshooter doesn't have haste.
That's a new roll.
Yeah. Right? I just want to make sure I'm not crazy, because I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
No, I'm pretty sure Goblin Sharpshooter does not have haste.
Yeah. I think he may have been looking at the War Chief in his hand and getting a little over anxious. So we need our Delver to flip or it's going to die. It flips.
It is. Brainstorm.
That was an excellent flip. Well, now we've got loads of damage. Our Nimble Mongoose is untargetable for Sharpshooter. We don't have to worry about that guy getting shot. So we're just going to start swinging for the fences.
Yeah, it seems sad that card is in there. Just okay. It's gonna.
He's sending in the Tarmogoyf because he has the Brainstorm, and Steven knows it. The interesting thing is Andrew probably doesn't want to Brainstorm right now. He can afford to wait. Once he takes this 4 damage, I'm just going to cast Sylvan Library and pass, I think.
Yeah. There it is. And because he's so far ahead in this race right now, he can afford to look at Sylvan Library and even potentially take a card off of it if he chooses to.
I think I can take 1 card in this game without being too scared.
Yeah, 4 life isn't that bad. Oh, he kept the Krenko in too. Very interesting. I don't know how many changes he made at all.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I think that the Relic and the Thalia are musts, but everything else...
Okay. And in he goes.
He's just sending in with those guys. We can gang block the War Chief. It's not the worst. But I don't know if we want to. The issue is our Nimble Mongooses aren't going to be growing anytime soon.
No, because he's only got a Misty Rainforest in there.
We have 1 card. We've got a Stifle and a Brainstorm in our hand. And taking 5 damage here is going to really limit our ability to use Sylvan. That said...
He'll take it.
Yeah. It's probably more effective to use the Nimble Mongooses as chump blockers if our plan is to try and trade here. Like, it'd be better to just wait until a crucial turn and then block 2 attackers instead of trading for 1.
Okay, we have Daze, Ponder, and...
Lightning Bolt.
Lightning Bolt.
Well, that's pretty good. I'm okay with taking 4 here because Lightning Bolt basically saves us the damage anyway. And now,
that'll take Andrew down to 10.
Yeah, we'll just attack with everyone after we cast a spell here to go ahead and grow Tarmogoyf. We'll want to probably Lightning Bolt the War Chief before Tarmogoyf connects too, just for the extra point. I don't think the value of surprising our opponent with Lightning Bolt on his War Chief is really that valuable.
Okay, he's got another Tarmogoyf there in that collection.
Well, that's very good, actually.
Yeah, it looks like he's not going to draw the Tarmogoyf, though. Yep. He's going to wait.
That probably means he's gone the Bolt plan if he didn't want to draw a Tarmogoyf. Wasteland's a nice one, only because it keeps his opponent off of 4 mana. 4 mana being the magic number to cast Goblin Ringleader.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we've seen, Goblin Ringleader can single-handedly do damage enough to win with its little army to help him. All right, Wasteland, get rid of Cavern of Souls.
Steven didn't sideboard out all those high drop goblins, but now he's drawn them and again is like stuck on mana, so... I think we have the Thalia in his hand too, if I see. So we did get that one.
Okay, he's gonna swing in with everybody.
Yep. Goblin Sharpshooter should probably consider trading. It's gonna chump block, that's also reasonable. I think I would probably prefer blocking Nimble Mongoose because the way this game is looking, Nimble Mongoose is likely going to get in a point of damage on the next turn. So if we block 1 and trade, we've actually prevented 2 damage, which is the same amount that we're preventing right now.
Alright, so that will hit him for 5, taking Steven down to 10. Yeah, too bad that Thalia sitting in his hand, not being able to do anything right now.
That's one of the weaknesses of even playing the card in Goblins. I know Cedric Phillips, fellow commentator and podcaster, not a fan of Thalia Goblins, actively hates it. So.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Well, and he played Goblins.
He is known to cast the little green red men.
Okay, yeah, he did not draw land.
That's probably just lights out. Thanks, Wasteland. Cool format.
Yeah.
War Chief for another 2/2. Resolves. If all of them attack, then Andrew will bolt the pile driver. If he tries to block with basically anything, then Andrew will take the damage and bolt the blocker. So Steven opts for the aggressive option. Pile driver's going to bite it.
And there it is.
Yep. Andrew will fall to 5, which is low, but ultimately safe. Goblins does not have reach in the conventional sense.
No,
all they can do are play goblins and attack you with them.
I have to be faster than you, and unfortunately in this case, due to the fact that it's 5 and 4 casting costs, you're not going to be able to outrace anybody there.
Yeah. We're up to 4/5 on our Tarmogoyf, which incidentally is a single point of anything from lethal.
Well, draw Lightning Bolt here, and okay, Sylvan Library.
Note that if if Andrew had taken my line of lightning bolting a creature on his own turn, it would have mattered had the Tarmogoyf gone unblocked. Well, these little points can come up. We're going to keep our Tarmogoyf that we drew last turn, unsurprisingly, and attack and play Tarmogoyf, and that will basically put our opponent into lights out. We don't have to attack with everything because there's not really much point.
No.
Or, oh, he's actually going to try and get to Threshold, it looks like. Which is, he knows 2 of the cards, so he should know if he could do it or not.
There's Brainstorm.
Dismember works. Daze works. Okay, we're just going to play... Oh, no, we don't have an activated ability. Okay, we're going to play our Tarmogoyf and daze it, and that'll give us lethal.
Yes.
Nope, we threw daze back. Never mind, we're not going to do that. I don't know what we're doing.
I had okay, that's 7. That's 7 exactly what he needs for Threshold. Okay, he's just going to swing with the 2. Hit for 9. 8. Or 7, I'm sorry, 7.
This is a conservative line, shall we say, given that it was a line that did not kill the opponent. But I don't think Andrew is in any special danger of losing. No. So his opponent would have to muster a lot of blockers and a Gem Palm Incinerator next turn. I doubt he can do all of that from at most 3 mana, especially when it looks like he did not draw a 3rd land.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the game.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to go on to game 3 here between Andrew Tenjum and Stephen Martin. Both at X1, both trying to battle hard here. Okay.
Goblin Matron resolves. Trigger is stifled. No?
No, it doesn't go away. No, just the trigger doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Stephen wisely scoops. We still have plenty of time left in the round.
Interestingly, it's kind of tempting, I think, to probably wait for the Gem Palm Incinerator that we assume Stephen would probably search for. Well, actually, I guess he wouldn't. He'd have to get a Lackey because he only had 1 mana, right?
Yeah.
But Andrew doesn't know that, so he has to play around the fact that Stephen could have a land. And really not much he could do wrong in that game, even though he missed that strange kill with dazing your own spell to get to Threshold. One of the trickier moments.
Well, Rug Delver requires you to play it multiple ways. Like we talked about earlier, you sometimes wasteland your own lands to avoid taking damage. In this case, you would daze your own Tarmogoyf to get the Threshold. I mean, these are a lot of interactions that, even though Rug Delver is very popular and has seen 3 times today, or 3 times already today, you really have to know the interactions in between it, otherwise you will be potentially very lost in the situation. So, as we go into game 3 here, Stephen is going to be on the play, obviously, with the draw here, and hopefully, I don't know if we saw Stephen side in anything. Again, this could be a big-time mistake on Stephen's part by not siding in anything different and staying with those high-end goblins that, as we've shown, Andrew can get them under control. Wasteland away to make sure you don't get the 5 mana, 4 mana. Alright, for those of you just joining us, this is the Star City Open Series in Indianapolis, Indiana. As they like to say, this is the penultimate round, round 7 of 8. We are seeing Andrew Tenjum, top 8 qualifier from Standard, playing Rug Delver, winning game 2 to come back to 1-1 against Stephen Martin, playing Goblins. So we had 214 people here today.
Something like that. 200, maybe 204.
Or 204 people here today. Sorry about that. 204 people here today.
Pretty much the same difference as far as tournaments go.
Yeah.
Yep. A little bit far from the cut, but not, especially close. Pretty much in between.
Yeah.
Where you cut for 7 and 8 rounds, or sorry, for 8 and 9 rounds. So towards the end of the tournament, you'll just have to kind of read the pairings to get any feel of what's going on. I imagine a couple X1s will be able to draw in, but not a lot of X1s.
No. But I also think that also provides a little more excitement, especially for us doing coverage. Because
Sure.
yesterday we had the top 6 just draw in, and we had two tables battling for 2 spots. I mean, here you could have potentially 4 matches going on here that all could be relevant as far as who makes the top 8 and who doesn't.
I expect actually that's probably the number we'll have. Maybe only 3.
Okay.
But somewhere in that range. That's I'd put the line at 3.5. So if you're a gambling man. Beyond that, yeah, we don't really know a lot about what's going to shake up. We know there are a bunch of combo decks at the top, and they're combo decks that happen to be good against control decks, which control heavy field, so
Yes.
makes sense that they've been able to take advantage. The blue-green Enchantress deck, one of those that's just pretty good against Tundra in general.
And they're battling each other right now, correct?
I don't know, actually. I know Omnitel is battling Enchantress.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Omnitel's battling Enchantress. Okay.
Steve Martin with Goblins on the play. Turn 1, Cavern Lackey, go. That is... We have the Relic of Progenitus in our hand that we sided in.
Yes.
And it looks like a ringleader, so we're off to a pretty good start. I think that's a pile driver and maybe a ringleader, maybe a Krenko, I can't really.
Yeah, so as Arid May sent his hand, a Misty Rainforest cracked by Andrew. Okay, Volcanic Island comes into play for Andrew.
He really wants to kill this Lackey this turn, or things are going to be potentially very ugly for him.
There's the Lightning Bolt.
Yep. He also had a Stifle, which could be used to keep a Goblin from entering play. But Lightning Bolt, much more elegant solution.
Yeah. Why waste the extra spell when we can just make sure it's done? Oh, Wasteland by Steven there.
He's going to play Relic and waste his opponent, try to get the free win.
There it is.
Note, playing the Wasteland, then the Relic to see if his opponent would daze. Interestingly, I would actually possibly be more likely to daze if I saw the Wasteland, just because paying a mana to save my land is not that bad. Or paying a daze, I should say.
Okay. Scalding Tarns goes away. Gonna probably get another Volcanic Island. There it is. I didn't get a good look at Andrew's hand.
Andrew is so far dodging the lose to Wasteland game.
Yeah.
One of Legacy's favorite games.
Well, we do know that Andrew does have a Stifle in his hand.
Yep.
As he showed with
Stifle, Delver, Dismember,
that.
at least.
There's Delver.
Shuffle that deck well, Steven. Your fate may very well live atop it.
Yes. Okay.
I see Pile Driver and lands, and another Goblin of some shape, form, or variety. I think it is a Krenko the more he shuffles it. So it looks like 2 Pile Drivers and Krenko is Steven's action, which is not nothing, but not great.
Frozen Grip.
Andrew did bring in the Crozian Grips. I think that's a little weak on the draw. On the play, I'm not that bugged by them because it's kind of easy to kill a Vial before it gets to Matron size, but on the draw, it's a lot harder.
Okay.
Here, however, it's a very awkward card to reveal, as Steven knows he needs to cash that Relic in ASAP.
Yeah.
Another Delver for Andrew, and whether he draws a land or a spell next turn, he's going to be pretty excited. So,
Okay.
oh man, we have a rough tumble in our hand on Andrew's side, and if we hit a land, that will be the happiest Delver we'll ever throw away.
All right, out comes the land for Andrew.
He's going to go ahead and crack that Relic right now.
He's not going to take any chances.
Yep. I probably would have cracked the Relic first. If we hit, like, Warren Instigator or something, that seems way better than the second Pile Driver.
Okay, and Steven's going to cut here, off a cut. Red Elemental Blast.
Looks like we drew Aether Vial this turn, and we decided to play our second Pile Driver instead of it as well.
Huh.
Revealing Stifle, okay. I'm down with that. We really will need a land, though. No fooling around.
Yeah, there's 6. Taking Steven down to 10.
These Pile Drivers are capable of racing these Delvers, so if I'm Andrew, I think I brainstorm for a land here. I mean, it's risky, but you might very well die if you don't get one on the next turn anyway.
Okay, Pile Drivers, we're going to swing in.
Dismember is going to stop a Pile Driver. He's going to Red Blast a Delver in response. Alrighty.
And there goes half the board.
Yep.
And another Red
Blast. Andrew's clock reduced from significant to nothing over the course of 2 1-mana spells.
Swings in.
Yep.
There's the Aether Vial, which I think you said is a turn too slow.
I think it's probably fine in this game.
Okay.
I don't expect it to do much, to be honest.
No. Okay, yeah.
Like, Steven, if he draws a Matron, then maybe the Vial will let him do some tricks with what he searches for. But beyond that, it's going to be a while before we're actually tapping Aether Vial to do anything. I believe his last card in hand is either a Crankrow or a Ringleader. We haven't gotten a great look.
No.
But either way, not relevant unless he draws a land or has 4 more turns.
Yeah, we can see the Stifle in Andrew's hand. Andrew, like you said, desperately needs a land here.
He has Lightning Bolt, Brainstorm, Stifle, Crows and Grip, Rough Tumble. That's his hand. I think we can Lightning Bolt here and just wait, I guess. It's not the craziest.
All right. Counter an Aether Vial.
Is that another Wasteland? No, that's a Ringleader. Okay.
Okay.
Sending 1. And passing, I imagine.
Brainstorm? Or he's going to Lightning
Bolt now. See, I really would have preferred a Brainstorm on our turn.
Yeah.
But I guess now we're at do or die time for that.
I think that's a second Crows and Grip.
It is.
Wow.
You can only wait so long on your Brainstorm.
Okay.
Did he?
I think he drew twice.
Is there like a... Oh, maybe there were 2 turns that passed quickly.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's actually what happened. Wow, that was really fast then.
Yeah.
He just drew past, his opponent drew past immediately back.
All right.
Yep.
Stifle the Arid Mesa.
I couldn't see his opponent's side of the board. That was what made that a little hard to figure out what was going on, but
yeah.
I assume that's what's going on.
All right, there's a Daze to go with the Brainstorm and 2 Crows and Grips.
Daze, pretty much the worst possible card he could have in his hand right now. This is a really awkward fight.
Nobody's advancing the state of the board here.
Steven just really needs a land or to get that Vial to 4. If you told me he was going to get the Vial to 4 before he found a land, I would have been a little surprised, but that is what has happened.
Okay, Brainstorm. Daze. Delver. Force of Will.
Okay. I definitely like keeping in some of the forces in this matchup. I know Mark Sun on Twitter noted that he actually likes keeping in forces against Merfolk and Goblins as a Rug Delver player, so that's interesting. I think I'm more of like a 2-man, but then again, I just hate having Force of Will in my deck as a general rule, so...
Yeah, I could live without Force of Will, but that's just me.
Casting a Thought Scour to get rid of the cards we brainstormed. They are pretty bad.
Daze and Crows Grip. Oh, there's a Nimble Mongoose.
I think I might have just played Delver. I don't know. Or nothing. No, we have to expect our opponent to have something, right? Like,
yeah.
He's just been doing nothing. What do we think his hand is? This Ringleader is probably just going to kill us outright. Oh, look, spells. He'll be able to Vial and Kiki Jiki next turn if he so desires, but his hand is packed enough that that might not even be something he wants to do.
Wow. Yeah, and you're right, he does have Crankle in his hand also.
I think he's just going to cast the Krenko. So we could cast Krenko, and the next turn we could Aether Vial in Siege Gang Commander, and then Krenko for a million goblins.
1 million goblins.
But our opponent has Rough Tumble, so they're all going to die if we do that.
Okay.
Might not matter.
Draw from Andrew.
Andrew knows he's up against the wall. His
looks like
his style of
wasteland?
drawing has become a little tense. Yeah, he's got a Wasteland. I'm not sure if he can afford to use it. It's debatable. If he uses it, then it has to be on the port, because otherwise his opponent can next turn use the port to keep him off Rough Tumble.
Alright. Oh.
Ooh. I don't like... I guess we can hit the Cavern to turn on our Force, but he has a Vial already in play. It's actually just going to kill us. I don't think we can beat the Vial at this point.
I think he's going to cast Nimble Mongoose here.
You gotta try and attack him somehow. He has Threshold, so if he can get his opponent to tap out awkwardly and make Rough Tumble kill everything, that would be fine for him.
Okay, another Aether Vial. Okay. Tries to activate the Aether Vial to see if it gets properly stifled.
That is one of our few ways to prolong this game.
Just a reminder that
We have to force evolve basically anything
Yeah, anything he plays out of his
that our
hand.
opponent plays, which is pretty miserable, but
we have a $10 draft.
unless
Just
he
some-
declines to play nothing.
Of the weekend.
To play anything,
We
sorry.
also have a standard winner box
That's-
and a legacy winner box
that's the
that
port.
are currently taking sign-ups.
We're probably going to brainstorm in response, assuming we have one. I can't tell if we do. I thought that was one, but it could be just another spell that I'm not reading
Okay,
right.
that's
It's a
Sylvan.
daze. Yep.
Yeah, we just drew a Sylvan Library.
Yep.
Wow, Andrew needs something here.
Yeah, passing the turn multiple times against a Krenko mob boss is probably not
No.
going to win the game.
It's not a recipe for winning.
I'm not a psychic or anything, but
No, he could. I mean, he could play the.
one of his most awkward lines here is attack. I don't think it's a particularly good one, but you might be able to convince your opponent to activate the Krenko early and block. Andrew's doing some math. He may actually be considering attacking.
Huh.
He is not dead. Well, not to his knowledge,
No.
if he just attacks, but he vialing in Siege Commander and then chucking the Goblin at Andrew would be enough to finish him if he didn't have another blocker. Does have a blocker, though.
Yay, Delver Secrets. And he still has plenty of additional blue cards in his hand to cast.
Yep.
Force of Will.
As I like to say, they're not going to kill themselves.
Okay, Krenko activates.
Makes a Goblin, chumps. The other debatable play is throwing Ringleader and a Goblin in front of the Nimble Mongoose, which I might be inclined to try. If I'm Steven, I feel like the only way I could possibly lose this game is if my opponent gets in 9 damage real quick.
All right. There is Siege Gang Commander.
Andrew probably thinking, is there a way I can win this game now? Because Steven missed a land, he has to kind of choose between throwing a Goblin and porting his opponent in upkeep, so Andrew might actually get to untap with 2 lands and Rough Tumble, but if Krenko lives, that won't matter.
Okay.
Yep.
There goes the Delver.
And then we're going to attack with the 1 living token. Yep, and Krenko's going to stay untapped, and we're going to put our opponent to 6. Andrew just has to go untap Rough Tumble. If he draws a land and can play another spell or something, that's cool too, but
He needs that Rough Tumble.
yeah, that's his only play. Kudos to Andrew on creating a game state in which he would be able to Rough Tumble for value. It was kind of hard to do with the way this board was playing out, but he did manage to create it. Now he has to do it pre-combat.
Yes.
And then he can attack and offer a trade with Krenko. His opponent will probably be kind of scared about the idea of going to 6, but I'd probably just toss a new token under the Nimble Mongoose and trade the token instead.
All right.
That seems better.
There it is.
Yep. Tosses it to the
What does
opponent.
this card do? Oh.
2 to everybody. So yeah, Steven's going to lose everything but Krenko, and then Krenko can make a blocker for the Nimble Mongoose if it attacks. I guess Andrew probably just has to hold. Oh, gonna attack. Oh, gonna block. And our Nimble Mongoose is dead. Can we correct the judge to tell
Yeah.
him the Nimble Mongoose is dead now? I had a feeling this would kind of happen. It's very easy to forget
I'm wondering.
that
I'm
damage
wondering.
on creatures
Yeah,
is
I
there.
was gonna say. I'm wondering if Andrew thought about that at all. 'Cause, you know, he thought maybe I don't have to do that.
I know during the Stoneforge Mystic era, one of the most common mistakes I saw people making in feature matches was they would attack with an equipped creature,
Yes.
like a Squadron Hawk with a sword on it, gets blocked by a Squadron Hawk, and then post-combat they move the sword, they don't realize their creature is dead now.
Yep.
It was a really common thing. It's very hard to remember that damage is sitting on your creature. So,
Until the absolute end of turn.
well, Steve now has a dominating advantage. he just put a Goblin Chieftain into play, and if any of the goblins in his hand cost 5, I think that's like lethal, right? And we have a Kiki-Jiki, so... Or is he... I'm sorry, we're considering that resolving. We have daze, and we are going to daze.
Well, at least he still saves the Force Will.
I like dazing to prevent ourselves from dying. That's probably correct.
Yeah. I won't daze. I'll intentionally lose. Thank you.
Kiki-Jiki. He will not be making a copy of Krenko Mambas.
Yes.
He's going to use his rarely seen attack functionality.
They actually attack?
Kiki-Jiki in the red zone.
Yeah, wow.
But Andrew does not have a miracle here, so that's going to be enough.
Congratulations, Stephen Martin.
I think Andrew played reasonably well. I think he messed up in the second game. He missed the onboard lethal a couple times. I don't really like the grips. They obviously didn't.